the newhavenindependent.org, as well as tune in. Check us out. Thank you.
Till it ain't. Yeah. I'm building up a wall till it break. She hate it when I call and it's late. I don't wanna keep you waiting. I hope I never keep you waiting. But I don't. Why you always at the mall when you're broke? Yeah. And I just wanna ball, maybe dunk, but I never been tall. Yeah. I might trip, I never fall. God knows I came close.
Don't try this at home.
I know I probably need to do better. Whoever keep my together. You never told me being rich was so lonely. Nobody know me. Oh well, hard to complain from this 5-star hotel. I'm always in a rush, I've been thinking too much. But keep it on the hush, no one need to know, just us. That's really all it takes. We don't need nothing but today. The world is so small, till it ain't. I'm building up a wall, till it break. She hate it when I call, and it's late. I don't wanna keep you waiting. I hope I never keep you waiting. Attitude, playing till I'm out of moves. No need for shame. I get more peace at slow speeds. Go beat the game. Young control freak is
All right.
What's
up? If you're listening to the smooth guitar of John Mayer, Connecticut local, you know you are hearing the Sam Hadelman Show. I have a whole room full of guests if you guys want to start introducing yourself. Let's go left to right. Start it off.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Tyler Jenkins, local musician out here in New Haven.
Regular on the Sam Hadelman Show.
Yep, honored.
I always would like to say that I met Tyler because he was playing piano at like 9:30 in the middle of New Haven, and I was like, "Hey, you want to be on a radio show?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." And I was like, "Cool, thanks, man." You want to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, my name's Taylor McKee.
She's a little too short to reach a microphone. If you want to just pull it down a little bit. Like she's literally too short for it. And someone who's a little too tall for the microphone. You want to introduce yourself?
What's up? I'm Kevin Mezek. I'm Sam's best friend from high school. I'm also a local filmmaker and still a student.
Yeah, get right up close to that mic, like it's your second date. Like get right up close to it. And we have another person who's watching. You want to say hi?
How's it going? Robbie Dworkin.
What do you do with your life?
I just graduated from Cornell and hanging out watching Sam's show.
Cool. Well, here we are. And today we're here to talk about Chance the Rapper's big day. Chance the Rapper is a Chicago artist, kind of got big off his 10-day mixtape. He got caught with weed at school, got suspended for 10 days, made a album at his local library, and he kind of got big off songs like Prom Night, Juke Jam. There's a whole set of songs on 10 Day that were really, really fantastic. And then we kind of moved into acid rap is when he really blew up after a nice Childish Gambino feature on the mixtape Royalty, the song They Don't Like Me. Acid rap absolutely blew up for anyone who skated and wore Huff socks in high school. I loved acid rap. It was just like the quick raps, the drug-laced references with songs like Push a Man, Chainsmoker. There's really nothing not to like on that record. We kind of moved into him being a little more mature. He made a record with The Social Experiment, which was wholeheartedly disappointing except for a handful of tracks. Then we kind of moved into his singles that he was dropping, like I Might Need Security. He kind of dropped a bunch of Lucy's for a couple of years. And the interesting part is that Chance didn't have a debut record. All this stuff were mixtapes, like Coloring Book, which he dropped. Everything was a mixtape, and this was kind of pressed as his debut album. And it's all kind of centered around his marriage with his wife and the birth of his first child. And yeah, here we are. So let's get into it. What do you guys think initially when you first heard it? Like, what did you go in expecting when you heard this record?
I mean, initially I knew it wasn't going to be anything like acid rap or Coloring Book because he tweeted about it. He like specifically tweeted like, don't expect anything that I've done in the past. So I was expecting like a dance, like Chicago, like R&B pop type feel.
Like the song you hear behind us, Eternal with Smino. Tyler, what did you expect out of it?
Yeah, so on like the singles he was like releasing before, like 65th and Ingleside, I Might Need Security. We heard like a new chant sound, one that was like a little bit more experimental. I think that we have to remember that he's someone who likes to play around with different sounds, right? He's like, you know, the like whole thing, like
Yeah.
Chance really became someone that people haven't heard before, and he kind of wants to keep that ideal going. So I didn't really have that much expectation, but I think I was going to be disappointed. I was hyped for the album, but I was like, I think I'm going to be disappointed at the project when it comes out.
What are you, Magic 33?
I think Chance the Rapper is kind of at a point in his life where he has like a family and a kid, so it's just I can't really relate to it as much. And I went into this. I'm supposed to bring it forward. I was talking into it before. I think Chance is at the point where he kind of has a family now, so it's hard to relate to him. And then like Coloring Book, like we talked about before you even had a radio show, is like better get our library card. Like that's kind of how all the songs sounded. So it was like straight out of Arthur. So like I kind of went into it expecting this, and even you said like Chance said not to expect anything like he used to make. But there's a couple songs on this album that sound like the old Chance, and those are the ones that I actually enjoyed. And then all the other ones that were like newer, just like were terrible. The way that I look at it is he copied a lot of the flows of rappers that are known now. Like I heard Valet's flow completely copied. I heard Drake's flow completely copied on a song.
But everybody copies Drake's flow. It's the Drake flow, you know what I'm saying?
I guess it's paradoxical to say to copy Drake because that's his own thing.
But like, I see what you're saying, and I went into this with like very low expectations. You know, Chance isn't. I don't think Chance is a project person anymore. I think he's a single person. Like the singles were unbelievable. I Might Need Security is probably the best Chance song I ever heard. Right. Like I loved what he was talking about, and I think that's what I was expecting out of this record. Was at least I knew he had content, because I think when rappers kind of grow old, it's they either try to like kind of morph into the old selves or they try to evolve. Like we saw with Eminem, he kind of keeps doing the same thing, and we see someone like Jay-Z who makes an album like 444, and you kind of hear them talking about their lives and their children and, you know, grown man things. These were grown man raps, and that's what I expected. Sure. But I mean, what do we think about the fact that it was 22 tracks? Taylor, what did you think when you saw that was an hour 15 minutes, like a short film?
It was way too long of an album. Like he could have cut it down to at least, he could have cut 10 songs off the album. The first half of the album was amazing. Like the second half, I was just getting bored.
See, I didn't really have an issue with the length. I thought that, you know, we're used to because Kanye kind of ruined the long LP style with the 7-track album.
But I can put up with a long Kanye album. Right. Like Chance the Rapper, like I said, I don't really like this album. So halfway through, I was kind of mad at you for making me listen to the whole thing. I texted him. I said, I can't believe you're making me listen to this whole thing. And then I get here, and he's like, I was like, can I have coffee? And he's like, yeah, it's black. There's nothing. You can't drink anything with it. So I was like, okay, this is definitely a case.
So Tyler, do you think that this album would have benefited from splitting into two halves like Scorpion?
Well, I don't want to be like too pessimistic, but sometimes every time I think that there's like a big album with short songs, I'm always skeptical about like the search for streams. So like, let's not forget, like this is the first album or like project that Chance released that's not like completely for free.
Yeah.
And like that's the first time he's ever done this, right, in his life. So whenever I see a big artist or like a big group of people, or like a big person release like a big group of tracks that are also short, I'm thinking of Migos, really.
Like Culture 2.
Like Culture 2, or even Scorpion, right?
Yeah.
It would be a stronger project if there weren't so many throwaways, but the quest for streams, I think, is like a really hard one.
See, I didn't feel like that. I didn't get that feeling. I didn't think that Chance was really looking for money or like looking for, you know, to get a quick buck from streaming off this. I think that kind of like he just had a lot of different styles he wanted to bring into it. Yeah, and we could see that in the features of like literally like Alphabet Soup, like Death Cab for Cutie, Made in Tokyo, Ari Lennox, Randy Newman, who does the You Got a Friend in Me song. Like the features on here are so eclectic and large.
I just read it as like a desperate attempt to just poke around and find something that someone's like, oh, I kind of like that thing that Chance did. But then the other ones were just like copied attempts of things that people enjoy now, and it felt like this album had no direction to it, that like some of the songs connected or anything. It felt like all over the place, and that goes to show the song "The Big Day" is insane. It's ridiculous, and insane in a bad way, like the original meaning of insane, because it goes from him being like calm, just normal chants. Are you playing it right now? Yeah, so it's calm, normal chants, and then if you listen a little bit longer, it goes into him just screaming like X. And then it's just it's a combination of a couple things. I wrote down exactly how I felt about the song. But
See, I liked it.
It kind of reminded me of like a bad version of "Biking" by Frank Ocean.
Yeah, because
Yes.
I think
Yes.
that's exactly the sound he was going for. Was
Yeah.
the
Yeah, I was very confused when I heard it. Like,
And-
But it was
started
like
screaming.
it was like Vampire Weekend meets Bon Iver meets
Well,
XXX
well, Bon Iver-
Tentacion, and I was like, I can't.
but Bon Iver's all over this record. Bon Iver.
But Bon Iver is pretty.
Yeah, Justin
Yeah.
Vernon, not really just Bon Iver, because Bon Iver's
Right,
group.
right.
Justin Vernon's all over it, because Francis and the Lights, you could really hear that Francis and the Lights took the reins on this. Like, you can kind of hear, like, the signature he put on Yay. Francis and the Lights produced every song on Yay. Like, he had some production in it. I actually had the chance to talk to Francis and the Lights last summer. I saw him at his first major concert ever in D.C. He
Wow.
was so friendly, took time to talk to everybody, and it seems like he kind of has brought the 80s synth sound into hip-hop. I just don't know if it worked that well here. What do you guys think?
Like, I remember Summer Friends was also a
Francis
pretty
and the
huge one, Francis and the Lights. I mean, I kind of love it. I don't know. I think Chance and Francis and the Lights. Also, another Francis and the Lights single that Chance was on.
From their like last record?
Yeah. The dance one. I'm forgetting the name.
Yeah, I'm looking it
It's
up.
like
now.
May I Have This Dance?
Yeah, May I Have This Dance.
May I
Yeah,
Have This
yeah.
Dance.
Yeah.
So like their collaborations, I think like go pretty deep. And he had like a lot over this album. I don't know. It's like a cool sound. Like Chance and Francis and the Lights and Chance and Bon Iver. Even like falsetto, reverby vocals in hip hop have been like popularized by the collaboration between like Bon Iver and Kanye. So like I really like mess with the sound. That's why like The Big Day like didn't like I wasn't pressed about all the experimental stuff on it because I knew they were just trying to go for something that is like a new sound. So like
I don't know. It like when I was listening to this, I was like, this sounds more like a Disney soundtrack than the Lion King soundtrack. Like this it sounds like
But like just a desperate copying. Like I didn't see it as like how people take Kanye's music and turn it into the new wave of something. It's like Kanye planted that seed, but someone else like grew the tree of whatever it was. I feel like Chance was straight up copying instead of taking a seed of something that he really enjoyed and making it into another song. And that's like, I think that's what my main issue was with this album, is just like, I didn't really enjoy it that much. But to go on to the Francis and the Lights point, I really enjoyed Summer Friends because it gave that nostalgic feeling.
I
and
did
that
too.
segues into how much I liked the Death Cab for Cutie song. I really liked it because it touched into like that nostalgic feeling that Chance gives. Like he even had that nostalgic feeling on 10 Day, and that's part of it. It's like just kind of like this old back in the old day kind of like kicking kind of vibe to it, and that's what I really liked. And I kind of got that from the Death Cab song. And there's a couple songs on this album that I liked, but other ones, the Francis and the Lights one, Big Day, I think that was my favorite part of the song, was the end when he came in, but then all the other stuff beforehand.
Taylor, you said that you kind of sounded nostalgic to you, like something your mom would play.
Yeah, definitely like 90s type R&B vibe. The entire album. I think that's why I liked it initially, because like it reminded me of something my mom would play, like the beats wise. And then like if you listen to the skits, like it's a lot of the movies that I like ATL and Friday, like a lot of the actors and actresses, and the
it was John Witherspoon, right?
Yeah.
Like the voice of the
Yeah,
And
from,
Taking
the guy from
pictures.
Boondocks, right?
Yeah, and the girl that plays Angelica from Rugrats, she was on the skit too. It was like it was a mosh pit of surprise guests. Like he could have orchestrated that better. I also didn't like that Nicki Minaj is on there twice.
Twice. Why did Nick like? And the features were very interesting to me. Like I liked Shawn Mendes. I didn't really like the Gucci Mane feature.
John Mendes was amazing.
The best feature on this record was the baby. I don't think it's a competition. And,
Yeah,
but
I agree.
that's the thing that the baby does.
I think Smino was the best feature,
Yeah.
but I really messed with the baby as well.
Like the baby has just been popping up on everyone's project and dropping the best verses on them. Like Revenge
Yeah.
of the Dreamers. Like the baby just hopped on. And was
And
like,
that was the same song that Chance was copying Valley's Flow.
Yeah.
Off of. And so when DaBaby came on, I was like, oh, this is fresh. You know what I mean? He like changed the beat into something else with the flow that he came on with it.
Yeah.
And is that the same one with Smino on it?
no, that's a hot shower with the
Oh.
baby and Made in Tokyo.
Well, I was saying this before the show, but I'm gonna bring it on because we're on air now. I hated the line from Smino's verse where he's like, "She's giving me ultimatums. I told her I hate tomatoes." It was like, what is that? that is all wrapped up in Chance the Rapper's just like, I don't know, like settled down family vibe. It's like, I hate tomatoes. Like that's what you have to rap
Like-
about. That's your pressing
I don't know.
thing in your life right now. Is
I liked
I don't know.
I liked what Chance rapped about, but these were like straight Huxtable raps. Like the entire album was like a Huxtable rap. Like it just reminded me of something like Sweater Vest. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like these were Sweater Vest raps. What I'm not mad about. Like I think it was interesting that Chance the best part I think to me was the content. I think Chance had something to say. He has interesting plot points, and Coloring Book just felt like lost. Like I just don't think he had that content there. And with this, at least he was focused. I think that. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about family, right? He
Yeah.
just got married. Like last year, he got married. And also, I think he's a young man dealing with the superstar status of being the man of Chicago. He's also like dealing with like a lot of like he's really like involved like the public sector. Like he gives back a lot. Like he had a big like Chicago schools campaign. So like he's rapping now not for you when you were like 14, like listening to him like when you were like skating in like urban or whatever. Like he's rapping for someone who's dealing with like real life, I'd say. And like dealing with like, I guess the metaphor of like the big day is just him like being like better of like a person, a more family person. But also like making like a name for himself through the features. I think it was interesting that like I always think it's cool when people don't list all the features they have. Because that was my biggest kind of like pet peeve of his entire like independent thing. Because he's like, oh, I'm independent. Like I never release music. I mean, never sell music. But like man has like features like on every single song. It's like, how independent are you if like everyone else is doing the work? So now he's like a little bit more like behind, right? He's like, I'm not gonna list the features. This is more like a musical thing. Like you're gonna just like discover them for yourself.
Like Blonde. Like a lot like Blonde.
So I think that like he's trying to like, I don't know, up the caliber a little bit, make people think about something that like they never really thought of before.
And Kevin, you looked like you were itching to say something.
So I want to say the point. I like completely understand Chance's like a new part of his life. He can't be rapping like Paranoia or anything anymore, and like I get that. But we look at guys who like Jay-Z who made 444, and like that is like him talking about the next part of his life, and like that album was incredible. So I can relate to like, I have no idea what it's like to be in my 40s and to buy $1 million paintings and to have like, you know what I mean? Like cheat on some superstar wife, like this whole lifestyle. And like, that is insane. And like the way that Jay-Z like handled that was super impressive. It almost like rejuvenated me wanting to listen to him. So Chance trying to do the same thing, but was more like casual about it. You know what I mean? Like bought a 2-bedroom house. Like that's how like I'm hearing his like music. Like I'm imagining it in like a very like just a casual, not exciting storyline type of way. So like I'm not like looking forward or imagining, wow, I can't believe what it's like to be Chance the Rapper. You know what I mean? And I think part of rap is kind of showing into like what the lifestyle is of each person. And even though Chance has a family and stuff, I just feel like all too familiar with that whole vibe where I'm like, I just don't want anything to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I hear
I got to play this meme that I found on the internet. And I've never played a meme on my show, but this is what someone said the Chance the Rapper's album sounds like. We'll be right back.
Ooh, I love my wife. I love my wife. Ah! Let's go ride a bike with my wife. Ah! My wife's real young. My wife's real small. Let's go to the beach and play with a beach ball. Praise Jesus God and my wife. Let's go to the beach and ride a bike. Ooh, I love my wife. I love my wife. Ah! Ooh, I love my wife. She is so fine. Ah!
Gosh.
Case closed.
I feel like that's like a really fair criticism, and I felt really bad. And like the internet,
That's like that song. Like, what's it called? Like Ride.
Off Chance's record.
Yeah.
It's it kind of sounds like everything. So what do you guys think about the internet's criticisms of Chance? Have you guys like gone across them? I see them all the time. It's like people really don't want to like this record. Like why don't you think people want to like Chance?
I don't know. I think it's really cool that like all the guys on my timeline really don't like the record, but all the girls love it. Like every single girl on my timeline really likes the record. I think it's because he's basically like the whole album's him like adoring his wife.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's kind of lost. Like we kind of got used to the promiscuity of rap music. Like I would love to hear about Future taking someone's word I can't say on the internet and taking them to some exotic location like Scottie Pippen's wife. Like that's fine. But I kind of want to hear about like married life as well. I think that like we're kind of entering a realm where hip hop like people are growing up in hip hop. You have to realize that hip hop is such a young genre that we don't really know a lot of old people in it who have like grown up through hip hop in such an accessible way, especially in social media. So here's Chance, who like grew up at 18, grew up off drug laced raps, and now is kind of growing up, has kids, and we're kind of hearing his grown perspective. And I think that's kind of the most interesting part of it. What do you think about that, Tyler?
Yeah, definitely. I think Chance made his name as being like the most relatable rapper too. Like you listen to like old Chance, you're like, oh snap, like I know what that's like. Like everyone else, like you were saying before, like you don't know what it's like to like buy like $1 million painting or whatever. But we also don't know what it's like to just cop like Gucci or like Louis V like all the time and like live these like huge viral rap star like lifestyles. But Chance is talking about like smoking weed with his friends. Now he's talking about like, I don't know, having a wife. And I think that like the relatability might come off as corny. And I think that's where people get like frustrated because they're like, I understand this so much, it's like corny now. Like,
Kevin, do you think it was corny? Or do you think it was?
To a degree, I think we find so. Chance is a very Christian guy now. I think we know that. So I think we relate. I think society just kind of relates religion and Christianity to corniness. I'm not saying that that's how I feel, but like that, a lot of people do that. It's like, oh, you're talking about religious stuff. This is corny. You know what I mean? Like singing and because I feel like he seems to change his sound up to sound more gospel-y almost, and like that's kind of how I hear it, is more like positive. And another thing is that we're talking about criticism that he's receiving from the internet, which is Twitter, and Twitter is not a very positive place. Chance the Rapper's a very positive guy, so like when Chance is like throwing his happiness in your face, people on Twitter are like, you have a family, you have kids, so it's so basically it's like, why are you telling me that you're happy? Like I hate you. And that's kind of that's why Chance is being perceived that way, is because people don't want to have happiness thrown in their face. At least miserable people don't. So I mean, like that's not the reason I hated it, but I think that's the reason why he's getting such a negative perception. Because I think the album did have a lot of very experimental things to it that should be analyzed, and some things should be appreciated and all. But a lot of people are just throwing that all out the window because they're like, oh, it's Chance the Rapper, he's corny. You know what I mean? And we kind of have to overlook that.
So the question I have now is, who's Chance's direct audience? Is it youth pastors? Is it Carlton?
Oh
who is it? Like who is supposed to be listening to Chance the Rapper? Who do you guys envision as the average? Taylor, I'll ask you specifically. Who do you envision as the average Chance the Rapper fan?
People that are married that can relate, like people at that stage that he's at in his life. I mean, like obviously you can listen to it, and like if you ever felt those feelings, you can feel the record. But I just think that it's not. Acid rap was for like people in high school. Like I never did acid,
in the suburbs.
But I love acid rap.
In the suburbs, it was like suburbs rap.
Yeah.
It was like, you know what I mean? It was for the kids of like Milford and Orange and shit like that, like in Connecticut.
I definitely
the album's like very explicit. Like it's not
acid rap.
No, The Big Day.
Oh.
Like if you listen to the lyrics, like I think it's far away from like him saying like I love God.
Yeah, I do too. I think
it's like definitely farther.
But he has other songs where he does talk about that.
Yeah,
so that's when I got the disconnection where I'm like, wait, 4 songs back, you were just talking about this like disgusting thing, and
like your wife sending you nudes in the middle of a meeting, and now you're talking about like that's cool. That's fine with me. Like
I guess he's married to
like I think he's figured out how to talk about God. Like I think on the Coloring Book, I think that it was overdriving. Like Coloring Book, he kind of filled the void of the lack of content with his religious content, and that's fine with me. But I think that he really figured out how to weigh. I think that was one of the upsides of this record, is he really knew how to weigh out talking about his family, talking about God, talking about hot showers. Like he like really like knew how to like. So we didn't like hot showers.
I did not like hot showers.
Tyler, how did you feel about hot showers?
When I first listened to it, like down, I skipped it. But like knowing the baby is coming up made me like it more.
Yeah, that's
like.
I think that's Taylor's dad's favorite song.
Also, yeah, it is my dad's
shout out John McGee.
Hey, yeah. I have a question too. Do you think Chance is better rapping or singing?
Rapping. Do you see how quick I just answered that?
Yeah.
Like literally, like I don't like his singing at all.
So
like,
I think like part of this project like might have fell flat too for me, just because he's like trying to sing a lot.
See, I thought he was really rapping really well. I thought the rapping was top tier on this record. I think that was another thing that really had going for it. I think on Coloring Book, he didn't really know how to balance all like the singing, and when Kanye's had these same issues, but Kanye is way better at it, obviously. Thug's had these issues, Drake's had these issues. It's like, how much should I sing and how much should I rap, because I'm such a diverse person. And I think that on The Big Day, he really weighs it out really well. Like on Coloring Book, it was just like just corny, almost gospel like like store-bought Kirk Franklin. But now we're getting to this point where like the big day, like I think he really balances his sound out well. What do you guys? How do you answer that question? Like, is singing or is rapping better?
I like his rapping better. I don't think he's really.
I think he's really
singing.
he's a very technical rapper. If you like listen to his flow and if you're a syllable person, like he's very technical. And I think that he really this was kind of like a combine for him, like an NFL combine where he's just showing off like he can rap on a beat like this, he can rap on Eternal, he can it was a very different album. Like a lot of the songs were very different. I'll give him that. Like it was a mix of different.
It felt, I keep saying this, but it just felt, there was another song where he copied Young Thug's flow, and I wrote down this note that I just found. He might as well just be the new Weird Al. Just parody all the other people, because that's just like...
And that was Kevin Mezek here, 103.5 FM, WNHH, your home for local and community radio, streaming live at thehavenindependent.org. Stream us live also on TuneIn and check us out on Apple Podcasts.
Am I still talking?
Yeah, you're good. You're
good. Sorry. I don't know. I feel like I got some dirty looks there, but it's just I felt like he wasn't attempting to make anything like out of his brain. It was just like the copy effect, and I need to.
I would say that like flows are like finite though.
Yeah.
Like because they're all eighth notes, and you can only have so many eighth notes.
Yeah.
So no one's gonna create anything that hasn't been done before because it's like.
Well, I don't know.
So,
I feel like Valet has come out with a flow that's just like so unique to him that everyone's ripping it.
Well, yeah. So I'll rebut that because you can change the flow on a song. So we look at Hot Shower, and I personally hated it. Hot Shower. The way that Chance delivered all those lines sounded like Valet, but it sounded like. What's it called when you have a cold and you wake up in the middle of the night and you start hallucinating because you have like a
cold sweats?
a fever.
Cold sweats.
Something.
Are you talking about sleep apnea?
No, it's like a fever. It's something fever. It's like where you're like so sick.
Like a fever dream.
Kind of like that. A fever dream. That is what the flow sounded like. It would just be stuck in my head like while I'm suffering sick. That's how I listened to that song. And I was so mad about it. But then the baby comes on and changes it completely up. And I said that before, and I was like, oh wow, you can have a different flow in this song and make it sound like your own. So he proves that.
But no one flows like the baby. That's like impossible. Like
but the baby has the same flow for every song though.
Yeah, but because it's the repetitive multiple syllable.
I mean,
flow.
they're just like triplets, like da da da
Yeah,
da da da. But that's a
song-
finite flow. Like it's just a different voice doing it.
But I don't know.
He used the womp womp flow, and that could have been if that song.
Wait. Let's show the people what we're talking about while we're doing this. So here's Hot Shower. Sorry if there's a cuss word.
Like Super Saiyan manga, I jump, stomp on Lucifer's stage. Now I got a few rings on Jupiter skating.
So that's the flow from. If you hear it, and here's Womp Womp by Valet. And everyone I can't knock Chance for taking this flow because everyone and their mother is taking
Smoke
Valet's
Perp
flow.
on Nephew.
Smoke Perp, Tyler the Creator on Okra, 6ix9ine and Nicki Minaj. Like everyone has taken this flow. Like listen. Big time stunner. Drummer. Like everyone's taking Valet's flow. You're like, why am I gonna knock Chance for doing something that everyone and their mother's done? You know what I mean? I think that he took. I think
because now he's in that group.
Chance is actually from Chicago, so it's not like he just took he's not like a random person. I'm like a different like if you're from the same city as someone and you take their flow, I think that's homage. Taylor McGee, thoughts?
I agree. I mean, like personally, I wasn't even considering him stealing anything.
But I always think people are stealing Valet's flow. Like everyone knows. Everyone who knows me knows like I'm obsessed with the man. Like his bars are insane. But like you don't think that you didn't get that vibe at all when you heard it?
No, not at all. I didn't like Hot Shower when I first heard it. I thought it was really bad, especially when he started saying "dude" for like a good 2 minutes.
Well, man, I mean, if you get the reference from Good Burger,
yeah,
like, I don't know. I liked Hot Shower a little bit. I hated Made in Tokyo's verse. I thought it was awful. I thought it really like set me off on the song. It was terrible.
You can just tell he's making songs strictly for the radio, like strictly for the play.
See, I don't think any of this is for the radio. I don't think any of this is gonna like. He didn't push anything as a single. There's no like. I feel like that's my issue with the project is that there's no standout tracks. It's a bunch of good, okay tracks. You know what I mean? Like there's not like one track where I'm like where I can point to and be like that's the best song on the album. Like that's the one. That's the greatest song he's made. Like I don't think that anything he made on there was better than I Might Need Security. What do you guys think is the best track on the whole entire record, starting left to right?
I think Eternal, for like music reasons though. Like I think it's like the grooviest song, like the coolest chords, and like Smino's lyrics and lyricism on this album is crazy. I get what you were talking about though with like the ultimatum and like tomatoes. But like people are just trying to go after words that sound similar. My favorite line on that song though is I'm running through your organs like when the pastor hoop. Like that's like the wildest line ever. Like it's
That's
hard.
crazy.
It's so wild. So I think that like Eternal.
Mom, don't look that up if you're listening. Please, for the love of God. Hey, Taylor McGee, your favorite song on the whole record?
My favorite song was Handsome because it's the only track on the album where you hear a woman's perspective. Like,
What about Ari Lennox?
I mean, like she's very like finite part of the album. She's not really like singing her perspective. She's really just singing the hook of it. I don't know. I feel like Megan Thee Stallion. I also am a big fan of Megan Thee Stallion.
I am too. If you have me on Twitter, you know that I'm a huge
Sam
fan.
is a super fan.
Kevin Mesnick, your favorite song?
My favorite song I've decided was "Do You Remember," the Death Cab song, Death Cab for Cutie song that I really like because I think it defies everything that I just said negatively about this album because it brings back that old Chance the Rapper feeling that I always liked. I don't think anyone else can really like recreate that like he can. It has Death Cab for Cutie, so like it makes me feel like I'm in like middle school, like all set. But like Chance the Rapper's a happy guy, so it's just kind of like this nostalgic, nice feeling, and he accomplished that on Summer Friends. So like hearing this made me feel like he was progressing that even more, and I really like that. And I wish he could take it in this direction more, and with all the other things he's trying to do.
I think mine might be "We Go High." I really like the song. I think it just works. And let me also say that the production on this album, it's like two separate albums almost, if that makes sense. It's like the entire production is handled by Peter Cottontail, Nico, like basically the entire Social Experiment. And it's almost the same producer on every song. And I love that. I love when albums have the same producers because it's one big cohesive sound. I have no bigger pet peeve than when an artist puts together an album and it's like one producer every song. So you can kind of hear Peter Cottontail kind of curating this entire sound. And I think that "We Go High" is perfect for him. Like absolutely perfect for him. I don't know. I think that's what I'm gonna go with, that or Eternal. I loved Eternal. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I thought the Smino verse was really nice.
Yeah.
It was just very direct, very nice. Like I don't know. So do you guys think this is better than Coloring Book? I know it's been a week.
Yeah, it's only been a week.
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna go yes.
I'm gonna say no. I was really expecting Kanye West to be on this album.
Well, they're making a record together. They're making a whole album together.
Yeah,
Good.
I understand why he wasn't on it because it like takes away the shine away from Chance the Rapper. So, I mean, like I listened to the entire album when it came out, and I didn't know who was on it or like what features, like anything about the album, and like it was just like the second half, like I said, was like really disappointing. Like Nicki Minaj on there twice. Like Nicki Minaj hasn't had a hit since like God knows when.
So not better than Coloring Book. Tyler?
No.
I would say like
Just
what
first-
percentage of the album am I gonna listen to the most? And like I think that I listen to a greater percentage of Coloring Book more frequently than I foresee myself listening to the same percentage of it. Like I listened to probably like 75% of Coloring Book like often when it came out, compared to like I feel like I won't listen to 75% of this album often. So like, you know, yeah,
So you think the replay value is greater on Coloring Book?
for sure.
And I would say that too. What do you think, Kevin?
I am more likely to go in my car right after the show and put on Coloring Book than I am to put on anything from this new album. I don't know. I feel like I had more enjoyment listening to the Coloring Book songs when they came out, even if they weren't like as good as Acid Rap, because you're always constantly comparing like the last thing that someone did. But I don't really see much replay value coming out of this album, or like me really wanting to like listen to these songs again. But that's like, but comparing Coloring Book, like I really didn't enjoy Coloring Book, and I really didn't enjoy this album. So it's like arguing about which team deserves last place. Like it's like a, you know what I mean? It's like it's not an interesting conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not like you're trying to argue who deserves the bottom. So it's
I mean,
whatever.
I ended up liking. I really liked Coloring Book. I like the individual songs on there. Like, oh my god, the song with Jay Electronica is amazing. I think that it had great individual songs, but I think that this album is a cohesively better album. I think it was put together better. I think that the glue that holds the record together is really more constant.
Something I'll argue about that, because you brought that up before and I forgot my point until now, is it took Chance like, I don't know how much time it was between Coloring Book and Acid Rap, but that took a much longer time than it took between Coloring Book and this album. He had a shorter amount of time. It was a 2-year difference.
What year did Coloring Book come out? Did Acid Rap come out? Like 2013?
Acid Rap came out 2013.
So 3 years between Coloring. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
no, it's all right. It's exactly the same amount of time, actually.
is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, 2013
Okay,
to
I don't know
2016,
why.
2016 and 19.
Okay, I might have had my numbers off last night. So
But
I just feel like he had less time to make this new album, and I think that's why some things just gave me a feeling that like they were rushed, copied.
did you guys think that the group of features, would you have picked a different group of features, or do you think that it worked? Would you have rather him worked with like his normal, regular Saba, No Name, Kanye, people like that, or do you think that you liked how he jumped and made different collaborations than he usually would have, starting with Tyler?
I would say that like for sure, like I guess the real question is like, do you think that the normal features would have done better than the features that he has now? And like as far as like picking up weight for sure. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's a hard question because I'm a bigger fan of the regular crew that he chills with than I am a fan of like Randy Newman or like
I don't know. Randy
Shawn
Newman
Mendes.
got hits.
I mean, like
So
I
did
know,
Shawn
like, I love
Mendes.
it, but like I mean, I don't know. I think they did well though. I think it was cool to switch it up, but I would have liked to see the normal Chicago crew, like No Name, Saba. But like, yeah, I'm not really gonna criticize them too much. I can't really say.
We got a couple comments. Shout out Wiggy. Sade says, this album gave me Married Life is simple and beautiful, but low-key boring vibes. And that she agrees with you, Tyler Eternal. Go hard, but she also likes We Got High. Thank you, Sade. #1 fan. What did you think about the features?
I like the features. I think he played it well off. I just think that he could have made it a concept album. Like he could have had it like a storyline to his big day. Do you know what I mean? Like
I think he
could
kinda
have
did.
lived through. I don't think
With the
It
skits?
was kind of
very
like random,
sporadic.
yeah.
With the skits? You don't think that kind of tied it
the
together?
skits didn't even like tie into the storyline. I was just
No,
like,
no.
where are we at with his wedding? Like, is this his marriage now? Like,
So
I'm very confused.
yeah, the big day was his wedding. Like
Right.
No,
that
it's
is-
his engagement. That's why the album cover has a bunch of diamonds in it, because it's kind of like him. It's like the musical embodiment of his engagement.
He must have been very confused that day. Then.
Yeah,
Like
because
you,
I thought the
and,
big day was his wedding.
no,
Yeah.
the big day is his engagement. That's why she's holding the diamonds. That's why the whole CD has diamonds. You could see if you see the wedding band around her this thing. I think it was the engagement. I don't think it was the actual marriage. What did you guys look at it differently?
No, but I want to just touch on the feature list. Is that I really do prefer the Chicago list because it's like these are people I don't really see a lot on other features, and like Chance picking features with people outside of his like circle. He's just gonna pick like more like I don't even know like happy artists that are like in his realm, just outside of Chicago. Like they might as well just get together and make a "We Are the World" song together. Like that's how they are. Like that's how I see it, and those are the kind of people he's gonna pick. And I'd rather see more Chicago talent that I'm not familiar with that he can keep bringing on. And he's gonna be that Chicago guy. He might as well be doing that with newer people from Chicago.
So let's just give it the 1 to 10. Let's just go for it. Tyler, you go first.
I'd say like a 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I feel like you walked in a little more confident than that. I thought you liked it a little more.
I did, but this conversation's like.
So what did you walk? What did you walk in with?
I walked in with probably like a 7 or 8, you know, just because like I love Eternal. Like actually like I mess with that song so much.
I do too. Him
But-
and Smino just have such a nice chemistry.
And I was just so happy because I loved Living Single, and Smino was taken off that song. So I was like finally like a Smino and a Chance feature. Maybe I'm just like a Smino stan. Like and also like lyricism on this album was like the best lyricism I've ever heard Chance do ever, like consistently.
100%.
Like
I agree.
metaphors, like I have to like dissect all the metaphors that he tries
His
to do.
his double entendres are insane on the entire record.
Wild.
He had one line where he was like, "A coat of paint doesn't hide the stain." Wait, hold on. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, wait, hold on.
No, I think
What?
my favorite line
He
was
said-
it was that I'm a soprano and y'all are altos. I was like, because I'm
Yeah.
watching The Sopranos right now, and I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Tony Soprano.
I'm just gonna read this line again because continued to be the villain of this set. That we're
I think
doing
you're not
here,
the villain. I think you might be the hero. You've said a lot nicer things than
But
No, yeah, it's
that-
perspective.
The
like,
line is a new coat of paint doesn't make the stain go away, but I'm sorry, Chance, but yeah, it does. If there's a stain on the wall and I paint over it with the same paint, the stain's not. You can't see it anymore. So it's like I don't know. We can get into a whole
No, but it
philosophical debate.
doesn't make it go away. You just cover it. I think that's the point.
Okay, I guess, but like I was actually thinking in my head, I'm like, well, there's a stain on my wall right now. If I just got the paint on the ground, there's no stain anymore. So I don't know. I think that's really stupid because I mean,
I'm a
last night
double-
I was just chilling, but
But I'm a huge lyrical guy. Like my brain moves like that. Like I love to figure out lyrics as I'm listening to them.
Yeah.
And this was like this was food for me. Like, I love the double entendres. Like, I think my favorite line on the record was like, "Don't come to my wedding if you're not going to be there for my marriage." I think that was like
that's
that
kinda
was the
wild.
hardest line by far, and everyone over 25 who's married shared it on my Facebook. Shout out Mercy. Like, literally everybody was sharing that. Like, it was crazy. There was like, and maybe we're just not the demographic for it, but I don't find myself needing to relate to the music I listen to. Like, I listen to music by Chief Keef. Like, I listen to like music that like obviously I do not relate to on a personal level, so I don't really find the need to. And I think that was my issue with it. Taylor McGee, 1 to 10.
I came here at 8.5. I'm gonna give it an 8. It made me feel like family reunion, like barbecue type vibes. Like, that's what I got from this album.
Like something you could play at the family reunion and someone's gonna dance to it. And your auntie will like it.
Right, like your auntie would like it. It was sporadic. I'm gonna be honest. Like, some songs he's like screaming on it. The next songs he's like has a soulful vibe like this. Like, I liked it a lot, but I didn't like that it didn't have a concept to it. Like, I understand that it was about his wife and like it's about love.
I love my wife.
Right, but it didn't have a storyline. And I feel like this is the perfect opportunity for you to like bring us through the story of like your engagement and like everything that happened. It was very sporadic.
Cool. And Kevin, 1 to 10.
I give it a 4.
And you're leaving here with a 4?
Yes, I'm leaving here with a 4. My mind has not changed, but
Robbie, can you do that math real quick? Never mind.
Okay. Here's my defense about that rating. Is that there's 22 songs on this album, and there are more bad songs than there are good songs, which just lower the rating for me. The lyricism, I'm not going to deny. I think his lyricism is great, but like
better than
that
acid
can't
rap?
be the only aspect of why you like the music and stuff. There has to be more to it, and like it needs to be rounded out, and it's not rounded out in my opinion. And I think the lyricism was great, like I said, and there's a couple songs on there that I like, and that's where those 4 points come from, because if those weren't there, it'd be a 0. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Maybe you are the villain.
Maybe I am. I think I tied it together.
Do that thing from Austin Powers where you go like this: $1 million, 4 out of 10.
So yeah, that's what I'm giving it. I don't think my mind's gonna be changed, but here's what I'll leave on. I don't know. Like, we keep talking, I don't know the type of lifestyle that Chance lives. Maybe I've seen my parents live it, or like, suburban lifestyle. But hopefully this album is something that I'm being angsty and all angry and negative about now, and hopefully a couple years down the line I'll be like, hey, maybe this album makes a lot of sense for my life when I'm 25 or something.
That's
so
what I think.
yeah.
But listen to 444, and Jay's talking about stuff that I won't experience for 20 years, and I still feel
or stuff you'll never experience. But the same thing is like when we listen to these artists that are like, you can't, like you just said, you listen to people who you never understand the lifestyle. When you listen to it, you go, this is crazy. They live that lifestyle. I'm not thinking about that when I listen to Chance.
Yeah, Chance is like,
crazy.
Went to the
He
store.
Loves his wife. What? Like, I don't feel like that.
Yeah.
So
Or it's like this subtle thing. He's like, pull up to the soccer game with the VVS's. And it's like, I've been to a soccer game.
I've never seen no VVS's though.
Yeah.
So I rest my case.
I'm gonna give it a 6. I came in here with a 6. I'm leaving with a 6. A 6 isn't bad for me though. I could still go back and listen to a 6. But I like the lyricism. I thought the features were nice. I thought the beats were unbelievable. Instrumentals were fantastic. I just thought that he just made some creative choices that I wouldn't have. So that's where. So Robbie Dorkin, what's the average of that?
6.
And that's why we have him here. So from the Sam Hadelman and crew, we are giving it a 6 out of 10. So now on to the next topic. We have some pretty big news. Tyler's been on for every show that I've talked about this, but this week, Old Town Road became the #1 song to ever longest running #1 of all time at 17 weeks.
Wow.
How's that make you guys feel?
Great.
I'm honored that I live in this era.
I am too. I love I'm starting to stand Lil Nas X. I'm starting to be like, Panini.
I think it's incredibly impressive for him, because I've seen so many arguments like, oh, Mariah Carey did it for this amount of weeks before streaming existed, and that's why Lil Nas X's thing is impressive. But we also live in like this really fast-paced culture where it's like things change like every week.
I feel like it's harder
like,
even.
If I check out for a week, I don't know what's going on when I go back.
It's like there's 3 new rappers with 6 new face tattoos, and you have to figure out how to pronounce all their names.
This dude somehow found like the perfect melody to make like a really ridiculous song over that has stayed relevant over time. Like, that's super impressive. But like, I don't care about Mariah Carey selling records. She had a whole record thing behind it. This dude did it with Twitter and SoundCloud, and then got people on board with it. That's insane. So
Yeah, I feel like that's almost more impressive than doing something back in the day. Because
Yeah.
there were so many backdoor like ways for people to get music. Like this is like a very organic. Like and you can
For
tell
sure.
that it's so organic.
I think it's like the Gen Z fairy tale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, 100%.
Like he caught everything at the right time. Man had a Twitter account, blew up on TikTok.
and I've been following him forever. Like I remember when his tweets, he was so funny. He's such a funny person.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He was like he just posted this thing. He was like, oh, like I used to be sleeping on the floor and now I'm gay.
that was funny.
But I mean, and the fact that Thug finally got his credit due, like
Oh, yeah.
hearing Young Thug go, yeehaw, I lost my mind. I almost swore on the radio. I lost my mind. I was like, oh my God. And Mason Ramsey riding
yeah.
on my razor. That was the hottest bar I ever
Man's
heard in my
out
life.
here.
Hardest bar I ever heard in my life. Getting that tatted on my face.
Timing was everything because like 6ix9ine got locked up. And
Yeah.
then,
And
like it was like silent, like there was no trolls. I mean 50 Cent, but like nobody.
But 50 Cent's the greatest troll of all time.
Yeah. And there's like no trolls, and then like Lil Nas X comes out with this song, and like on top of that, he's like current with Twitter. That's a big part of it. Like
Yeah.
if he wasn't on Twitter as much, like I don't think it would have lasted.
Mm-mm.
I don't know. I think it's the country hip hop vibe.
The country thing is what,
Which
set
kind
up
of
the-
sucks because Lil Tracy did it really well with like a farmer with Uzi, which I love that song. And Thug obviously
Beautiful song.
Thug kind of invented the sound that's currently country rap. If you kind of go back, you can hear UGK. But like, yeah, I don't
But
know.
he keeps up with his relevance. Like every time you think he's gonna fizzle out, he goes like, "Oh, this happened." Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say like it was a publicity stunt, but like his song was starting to fizzle. Like, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm coming out."
Yeah, that was.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't starting to fizzle.
Yeah.
It was when the EP was coming out.
And
right?
the music video really
He actually
pushed
got
it.
some bad reviews on those other songs besides Old Town Road.
I thought
Yeah,
Panini.
yeah.
I
At the
thought
same
me
time.
and him reviewed it. I liked Panini. I love that
Yeah,
song.
I like
same.
Panini.
I like Closure too.
Yeah, I think that's just it's a little more layered than you'd expect.
I think Lil Nas X though hit every trampoline or jump that he was supposed to hit, like every checkpoint. Like maybe the coming out was one thing, but like he somehow got Billy Ray Cyrus to jump on his thing when like what was that church posted some sign outside that was like, "Congrats on the
Oh,
number-"
to Billy Ray, yeah.
to Billy Ray or something, or they're like, "Yeah, this isn't," or Billboard was like, "Yeah, this isn't country music."
Like every odd was against
That was
it.
like
Yeah,
another
yeah, yeah.
springboard into like, hey, this
Right.
kid's stirring some stuff up. So
Mm.
like, I think that was, and now it's like Lil Nas X is setting groundwork for being a gay rapper and all this stuff. I'm like Tyler the Creator and like
Yeah.
Brockhampton are like huge
Kevin
for-
Kevin
Kevin
Abstract.
Abstract. Sorry, not Brockhampton, but those two are way more influential than Lil Nas X is. But he has so much gravity behind him that it's like that was another springboard into the next thing for him.
Cool. So we feel like this is now the most popular song of all time?
Yeah, the BTS like
Remix.
K-pop version just came out too.
Yeah, and
Really?
Wayne hopped on a verse. And he said, "I met my girl on Farmers Only and I lost my mind."
Oh,
like
that's crazy.
I can't play it on air because it's very explicit, obviously, because it's Wayne. But it was how funny is that? I met my girl on Farmers Only. I think I signed Kevin up for Farmers Only senior year of high school.
It's still there.
like 99% positive. Like I did that
I
here
have a
at,
surplus of vegetables.
here at here at 103.5 WNHH, your home for local and community radio, streaming live at the New Haven Independent, and tune in. And we're on Apple Podcasts. Sorry, I said that so fast.
I just hope his success like lives on and on. Like I hope this.
I hope
isn't,
it
like,
doesn't
the
stop.
End and like
Mm.
I mean,
This is
I don't
like-
think it will be. I think that people like really realize that this is like someone who they should really be paying attention to. I don't think there's a person out there who underestimates him.
But when your song is this popular, like you're gonna be 85 and they're gonna be like, play that Old Town Road. Like this is what I.
Yeah, but
paid
he
for
doesn't care about
for.
getting. He doesn't care about
Yeah,
that. He
yeah.
cares about getting the check.
I think one thing that makes him so popular too is that for sure like he's a product of the industry. Like he didn't single-handedly get Billy Ray on the thing like Atlantic did. So like no, sorry, Columbia
It's Columbia.
did. Yeah, Columbia did. So like he's a person who's like really speaking really meticulously through his label, but he's also someone who we feel is like personable and like we really like him because he's almost like, you know, he's talking through himself on Twitter.
We
like,
relate to him.
He's funny too. Like this is a person we've never really had before. We've had like big viral hits from young people, but how often have they made you laugh? Like
Tyler the Creator.
true.
I'll give Tyler the Creator that one because when Yonkers came out, Tyler was tweeting crazy shit.
But that's the I love when the guys don't take themselves so seriously.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Lil Nas X isn't taking himself seriously. He had to delete a tweet the other day because he got sued, and he's like, "Yep, definitely losing this court case." And his lawyer's like, "Take that down." Like when you see a rapper taking themselves too seriously, there's like part of being braggadocious, but as soon as they start to like their life is like too important for it to be laughed at.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
everyone else is viewing it that way. That's when people kind of start to jump off board.
Start
with
to
them
clown
and
him.
and Lil Nas X is clowns himself.
Yeah, it
So
takes
it's like
it,
you're kind of rooting for him.
But
you know?
he kind of took the Tyler the Creator social media route, the Young Thug music route. Like he is set up. He is set up. But do you guys think he's gonna get even bigger, or do you think this is kind of like his peak?
statistically he's on the downfall.
Yeah.
I mean, not really. He's still number one.
No. Like statistically, like he's not gonna do well after. Like he's on the way down. Like this is his highest point. So like,
Yeah,
I think he's only gonna come down in time. Like,
Nah, I feel like someone's gonna get him on a crazy feature, and then we're just gonna see him pop up again. Like
Like, I think
people
he's-
want more.
He's gonna have longevity, but like once again, like he's never gonna be able to box out of country rap. Like no
Yeah.
one's gonna want to hear anything other than that.
What up, Panini?
well, I mean, Mason Ramsey tweeted like, "Yo, Little Nas X, I'm gonna tell your record label that I caught you without your cowboy hat the other day."
yeah, that was so funny.
That was hilarious.
That's-
And like he's like the same way, like he's strung to everything because of the label. I can only feel bad for him just a little bit, just because I think he's on like a 360 deal.
No, he's definitely not on a 360 deal.
I don't know, like man released one song and then was opening at like Coachella the same like year.
Yeah, 'cause
like
they
you can't
booked
do
it.
that
Yeah.
without like having like a special deal for that. And I think like 360 is kind of like the way, especially if you're like a super fast viral song. Like just get a maybe 6, maybe 7-figure deal. But after that, like licensing and everything is just owned by the label.
I think he's a little smarter than that. I think.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like he's just one person. Like
Yeah, but that's what we see from the outside. You know what I mean? Like he might. I think the inner workings of Lil Nas X is a lot more meticulous than we put out to be.
I mean, he says he has like $5 in his pocket. Like I would take any deal I could get at that point.
especially if it's so fast too. Like for sure, he had the most viral song and he's doing super well. But like you know that he's not making the majority of the money from
Yeah.
that song.
Yeah,
And like everything that he's doing, all the tours. I mean, everywhere that he's been, like it's not his team. Like I think it's the team through the label. But like we'll
Yeah.
see. I don't know.
I think part of it is just like living up, like statistically, it's hard for people to live up to like the last thing they did that was so big. Like whether it's that he's boxed in or whether it's this, it's just like statistically, I don't really know anyone off the top of my head who like got stuck in this like one-hit wonder type of thing and then broke out of it and became something bigger. Maybe Post Malone, maybe because he was doing White Iverson and then he was not heard of ever since. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
became Posty and then this like big guy now. We love the Bud Light drinking hillbilly guy. So like that might be like I didn't look at Post Malone like that, and then he changed his image into something else. So like maybe Lil Nas X can do something. And also, I mean, Post Malone didn't have that same type of gravity behind the song.
I mean,
It's just hard statistically. I just don't see it happen.
interesting. So we kind of are doubting Lil Nas X's longevity a little bit.
just a little bit. I
Mm.
mean, you think of your favorite artists or like the biggest rappers out. Like, let's take Drake for example. Like, Best I Ever Had was not that big of a hit. His biggest hit, I think, was Started from the Bottom.
Headlines. What a headline.
Headlines like around that era, like, and that's like deep into his career. We're talking
Mm.
like 5-6 years into
Yeah.
him rapping.
Or well, yeah, Best I Ever
Like
Had.
when you start off that high, like you said, like it's really like a downfall from there. I just hope he doesn't become like a Vanilla Ice or
I mean, I highly doubt.
Like, oh, like an MC.
I mean,
Yeah,
this
like
isn't like
doing,
a
like,
this
Ice
isn't like
Ice
a, this
Baby
isn't
for
like
the
a
rest of his
quick
life.
like like Stop and Shop playing over the loudspeaker hit. Like this is the longest running #1 song of all time.
I haven't heard a song like this viral since Soulja Boy.
But this is for like the kids
Soulja
too. Like
Boy.
I see more little kids singing this song than anything, and it's like
Yeah.
they're putting it on Good Morning America, and like the hosts are like doing the whole thing. So
Yeah.
that is
The cultural appropriation's there.
but I don't see any other song getting that much
Traction.
traction.
I mean,
like,
he
having
knocked
a whole
Taylor
thing.
Swift off the
Besides,
charts.
like the this is like the Psy guy from Korea, like the
Yeah,
Gangnam
Gangnam
Style. This
Style.
is that is comparable to that.
I mean,
think.
Wow.
no, I wouldn't.
Yes
I,
or
I,
no?
I,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's very comparable, just because I think that it's connected with audience in a way that's like a little different. I think Gangnam Style might have been a style that was introduced to us new in America, but it was probably a very normal song to make over there. And I think that Lil Nas X's record was something that was very, very new and centralized to us, if that makes sense. I think that's the difference. And I think that there's a little more artistic expression in Old Town Road.
Mm. Yeah,
I don't think it's just a bar mitzvah bop like Gangnam Style.
yeah. I would say like the biggest line or like the biggest thing we have to start debating between is like the amount of like gimmickness or like the amount of like novelty to this, right? Because if this is like a novelty, if he's like the cowboy rapper, like then novelty can only go so far. And if your fans don't evolve with that novelty, then you're kind of left out to dry. So I don't know how much of Lil Nas X is novelty or is a gimmick. And will we outgrow it? Like, those are all the questions that I'm thinking about. So that's why I don't see longevity as like a super big thing. Unless he changes sound as he gets older, which is totally fine.
Which I think he will. I think that's kind of his draw, is the genre bending. I think that's what people really like.
Yeah.
Cool. And we're going to segue into our next topic, which is going to be the imprisonment of A$AP Rocky. Recently, A$AP Rocky got into a physical altercation in Sweden. He's been locked up since around July 15th, and it didn't really gain a lot of media attraction. Obviously, I wanted Rocky free the whole time, but then Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, I started like tweeting about it and talking about it publicly, and had a full press conference saying that Kanye called him up to free A$AP Rocky.
Yeah.
But now A$AP Rocky is not free. He's been charged with assault, and he could be in jail for 2 years. So I think this is one of the more interesting societal situations for hip hop music. You have someone who's so unpopular in the hip hop community. Everyone talks about how much they don't like Donald Trump. And you have someone who is so revered like A$AP Rocky now in prison, and Donald Trump trying to help him. I think it's a weird juxtaposition for like our society. It's something we haven't really seen. It's like, is someone who's perceived to be very bad doing something very good? Does that change the action? Does it change how we feel about it? I'm going to start off with Taylor McGee.
Change how we feel about who, Donald Trump?
Yeah, or the decision, or freeing Rocky, or like the entire situation.
I think if something is unjust, like, we should do whatever we can to make it right, no matter like who is involved. Like, if Donald Trump is the highest person you need to talk to, like, then let's use his power to get where we need to get. I mean, obviously it didn't work. It doesn't really change my perspective that much on Donald Trump, but I see like he's trying to make a relevance to himself. Man, I'm not really into politics like that. So.
Tyler?
I think Donald Trump, like, being like, yo, like, A$AP forever, like, free Rocky, is like the wildest thing
That's
ever.
the wildest thing.
I just think I'm dreaming right now. I'm like, is Donald Trump really saying free Rocky?
And
like,
he
where
put the
am
dollar
I?
sign in there too. He didn't like just write A$AP Rocky. He wrote A$AP Rocky with a dollar sign.
Yeah.
I was like, some intern's getting a raise.
Yeah. He's like, sir, make sure you put the dollar sign. I feel like the entire like
Mr.
formalness
Trump,
of it too. He's like,
Mr. Trump, you're gonna definitely have to put a dollar sign in there for the
like,
youths.
I love A$AP Rocky. I love him. Like
I just can't imagine like A$AP, like Donald Trump like sitting in his office,
Hashtag V-Loan.
like literally like hands like this, like legs up, and like just listen like purple swag. Like, imagine
eating his Big Mac and his whatever else.
Just telling like the intern it's actually a satchel. Thank you.
yeah. Like I don't know. I'm just very conflicted. Kevin, you seemed very interested in this topic when we were talking before
It's
the
just
show.
the juxtaposition is very weird, and it's like Trump, really just kind of like I think the trying to free A$AP Rocky is totally a publicity stunt. I don't think that's outside of his realm at all.
Tyler Jenkins, you wanna
gotta get it?
You wanna
give it
peace
a
out?
second?
Yeah, man. I'm so sorry. I gotta go to work.
No, don't even worry about
bike life. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
We'll have Robbie Dorkin sit in for you.
Yeah.
Switch seats real quick.
Really quick, follow me on Instagram, Nuclear Thoughts. I have a pop-up shop coming out soon. Yeah.
Tyler Jenkins, we'll see you soon,
like,
man.
This is like when they switched Iron Man's best friend in 1 and 2. Like,
with Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle.
Yeah,
so he's like Terrence Howard, and now you're Don Cheadle.
This is like not a good replacement, but
so, Robbie Dorkin, what do you think about this whole thing?
Whoa! I didn't even finish.
Okay. Whoa! Sorry, Rob.
Whoa. So anyway, sorry, Robbie. Anyway, I think it's not outside of Trump to definitely try to like grab for votes anywhere that he can, and we like look at Trump and he basically takes votes from people. Like, he doesn't deny votes from white supremacists or hate groups or anything, and he'll grab for anyone possible. So like him being like, oh, I need more black people to vote for me, or I need a certain type of people to vote for me. I'm gonna go do this thing. Whether that he can convince white supremacists and stuff very much more easily, that says a lot. But like, basically, I think that he is kind of like grabbing for votes doing this, and I think it's very weird because we don't know how A$AP Rocky feels about this.
Yeah.
We're only hearing about how the audience feels about like, wow, how dare Rocky do this, and then Trump like being like, yeah, we're gonna free him. But like, what if A$AP Rocky's like, don't do that for me, or like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? We don't know how he feels, so I think that's a very weird position to put him in. And it's just strange, and we can't really influence the laws of another country. So it's like, we have a president who maybe Sweden isn't very fond of being like, release this guy who broke your laws. They're not gonna do anything about that. Like, they don't care. So I think it's just kind of something that's gonna fizzle out. We're never gonna hear about it again from Trump's side. Like, I don't. But it's a very weird thing, and we don't ever separate hip hop from Donald Trump. I looked up this statistic. He's mentioned like 80 something times a year in rap lyrics, and
you think positively
since the 90s. So it's like him being connected in the hip hop world, whether it's good or bad. He is in that world lyrically. So it's not too weird in my mind to think about him interacting with rappers, because the Kanye West thing, even though that was political, he was interacting with Kanye like a year ago or 2 years ago. So him now interacting with A$AP Rocky is pretty wild, because A$AP Rocky's not this like very mainstream rapper. He's well known, but I don't think of him as like mainstream.
And he's not given very good sentiments to Trump. Like, he's obviously said
exactly. So it's weird to see how this happens, but I'm not too perplexed about this being in our reality, especially because like everything just feels like not real. Like, ever since this 2016 election, like every headline is just like looks like a South Park episode. So it's like you can't. Satire is dead, and it's like I just take whatever. I'm like, all right, this is happening now. I believe it. Sure. Like I can't process in my head like, wow, this can't be happening. This isn't real. Like, everything is like either not real or totally fake nowadays. I just absorb it.
And what do you think's gonna happen when A$AP Rocky's actually freed? Like, do you think what do you think the reaction would be if A$AP Rocky
A White House visit?
I don't think he's gonna go.
I don't think.
I don't
so
think he's gonna be that. I don't think he's gonna be that
it's gonna
friendly about it.
happen.
But like, what's he gonna do? Like, is he gonna say like, Mr. Trump, like, thank you for trying to free me?
He's a New York guy. He's gonna be like, well, he got me out of prison. I don't care about him. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I think
that's a New York attitude. It's
like,
like, well, you helped me out, but I still don't like you, so you're stupid. Like.
What do you think, Robbie?
I agree with Kevin. I think it's completely a publicity stunt and trying to get votes. But I also wonder, like, would this have ever happened without Kanye, talking to Trump, or, the Kardashians' foothold in the Trump administration? So, like, I think it's all nonsense. I think he's just, stirring up votes and trying to, like, get at that younger demographic. But obviously, he hasn't even freed him, so it's kind of.
But it's a weird thing where it is nonsense and it is a publicity stunt, but there's a good action somewhere in there. Like, there is somewhat of a good intention in all this BS.
Absolutely, and I think it, like you started the conversation about this, he's trying to do something good, no matter like how he got there. His intention is to free this guy, which is good, but it doesn't negate everything else he does or says. So like.
We have a comment from Harry Droz, who's sitting outside. Harry, if you want to come in here and talk about it, he says he's doing a favor for an American. I agree. I think the action's good. Do you guys think the action is collectively good?
I think the action is good. Yes.
But it doesn't change your perception.
His collective actions are not necessarily
He's done too
good.
much in the past for it to be like, we look at this one action and be like, okay, like.
But it's also like he just talks, like it's the same as everything else. He doesn't necessarily do that much. And he
called the PM. He did more than I think. Do you think Obama would have done more to free A$AP Rocky?
I think we look at Obama as more of a celebrity-like figure,
Not really.
not like a president.
Activist or anything.
Yeah. So, I think, and Obama's highly praised. So, like, I feel like if Obama did the same thing, it would have been like blown
Viral.
up. Like,
Viral.
oh my God, he's trying to help him.
Because
He's
we
doing everything that he's
perceive to
doing.
know the intention behind the act,
Right.
because of how well we know his public face.
And Trump is very like, his emotions or like his intentions do change a lot with a lot of things. So it's like, we don't know. This guy might wake up, he might be mad, he might be happy. Like, it's
The
a
question
weird
is
thing.
would Obama have done it without a phone call from
Kanye West.
I don't
or
trust
Kim
anything.
Kardashian?
I don't trust anything politically as genuine. So I don't think like Obama. If it was like any president, like any politician in general, like whatever they're doing is to gain support for like something. You know what I mean? I don't think anything is genuine. Like we look at Obama as like this great celebrity guy, but he was no farther away from doing something politically than Donald Trump is, or any past president, Bill Clinton, or anyone that we like, JFK. So like, I don't see like politics as being genuine whatsoever. So that's why I'm completely disregarding this as some type of.
Yeah, I don't think Obama would have done anything close to this, really. Because one, he doesn't need the PR, and it's mostly the biggest asset to this whole situation is the PR that he'd get for it. And I don't know. I think that the one of the upsides of the Trump presidency is at least that there's a voice that's a little bit more common to the people. Like, I know it sounds weird, but Kim Kardashian, when Kanye West, it's like they're able to communicate, problems that maybe a political advisor to Donald Trump probably is not going to know about. And
my question though is like, and I don't know, I haven't looked, like, I don't know the details of why he was arrested or
he got arrested
like
for
that.
a street fight, but it looks like from the video it wasn't perpetrated by him.
So the guy was like following him around and harassing him, and then he was like, "Please stop," and then he wouldn't stop. So then
Rocky threw him like 3 feet. It was dope.
It was crazy.
I wonder that it's good for Trump to be doing this, or President Trump to be doing this, but is it necessarily even in the scope of the president? Like, yeah, it happened in another country, but they have lawyers. He could get a lawyer.
I don't know.
And
You don't think that if it was a white artist that people would be demanding him to be freed immediately? Like, you don't think if like
Probably. If it was like Demi Lovato or something.
If like Shawn Mendes went to China and beat someone up, you don't think that the president would have to get involved?
We'd never see Shawn Mendes again.
I think it's super hypocritical because like they're like, oh, you need to release them because it's our people. I don't care about the laws of your country. But then like the same thing on the Trump side is like, we have laws in this country that we need to follow. That's like whole Trump's agenda. But then he's like, how dare they follow their own laws?
And
to try to free this guy. And so
and
it's
we have an article
contradicting.
that's been sent to us by our producer outside, Harry. Everyone say hi to Harry.
Hi, Harry.
Harry's saying that if you guys remember when the Ball child, like the brother of Lonzo Ball, I think it's LaMelo.
Yeah.
It's LiAngelo Ball got arrested in China, and Trump called to save him. And we kind of saw how it played out there. LeVar was like, I don't really care. Thanks for freeing my kid, but you didn't do anything. You know what I mean? And they kind of got into a war about it. And I wonder if that same situation is going to happen with Rocky. Like, I just can't see Rocky like rolling over and being like, "Well, thank you, Mr. Trump." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't see that.
Like, if it wasn't someone who's famous and some random person just got in a fight in Sweden, they're gonna sit in jail. Or
but we have
Trump's
but whoever has gravity, it's like that kid in North Korea who got put in the camps or whatever.
Otto Brown.
I don't know. Is the college
Otto,
student who stole a flag and then went to prison? And like every so often, we have to pick some like
But
American
I
who's
think-
locked up somewhere, and that's the news for now. So it's
And the fact that he's an
North
international
Korea,
star.
I think
Yeah.
North Korea is definitely a different situation, given that it's a dictatorship. And
but
he's
we have
probably
the
in a.
LiAngelo Ball situation. And it's like there's always like some person who's in prison. There's journalists in Iran or something, right? And I forgot. I don't want to make up stories because I don't know what country it was.
Fake news.
No. But it was a journalist that was locked up somewhere in the Middle East, and we made that a big deal.
Are
But
you talking
now
about the
it's
guy
like,
who got his head cut off? I think his name's James Foley.
yes, but there was also a female journalist too. I can't remember.
So
It is kind of contradictory, like you were saying before, Kevin, to Trump's whole like, America
laws.
first, and we're gonna we gotta bring everything internal, and now he's sticking his fingers. And trying to
trying to
people.
change laws
Yeah.
in countries where what I mean.
And it's like,
But yeah, I don't know. You guys, I now I'm kind of thinking about this issue. I think that if it was a white artist, like there wouldn't even be a question that the president would reach out to try to get like, or someone who not even a white artist, but someone who comes from a genre that's a little bit more clean than hip hop to the general public. You know what I mean? Like if it was like Demi Lovato, like you said, like there would be no question. Like we're trying to free Demi Lovato. You know?
I think it would be Demi Lovato's bodyguard. I don't see her necessarily tossing someone 3 feet, but
I'd love to see that.
It's all about timing. Like, there's so many things going on right now. Like, that's not his main focus right now. You know what I mean? Like, I think, like, yes, like, him not being a white artist might have something to do with it, but, like, I don't think it's that significant to the point where, like, he should just be happy that he helped him in the first place, to be honest. Like,
So that's how you view it?
I mean, I feel like he didn't even have to make a call, to be honest.
yeah, I agree. I think it's
I don't think
beyond
he-
the scope of the president, like, to be doing that.
So that's why I think that like some of Trump's shenanigans do result in good things happening, and I think it's like goes back to my point where it's like a bad person doing a good thing.
But like it's not intended to be that way, and I know we never like look at things with like the intentions behind them, but like
Also,
I don't know, like okay, so if I like wanted to like set my neighbor on fire, but I just trimmed his hedges for him like with my flamethrower, that's like I was trying to do something not very good, but like something good came out of it.
Yeah,
It's like not justifiable, you know what I mean? We can't like say that like good things come out of bad things accidentally, and that's
And-
okay. Like that's not good.
just so you guys know, we've gotten eight comments from Harry. Harry says Trump is the good guy in the story. I mean, do we agree with that?
I agree. I don't think he's a bad guy in any
Yeah, I
situation
know.
for doing this. I just don't think it negates, like,
Everything else,
But
he's
that's
done.
not the
Everything
question
else.
we're talking about. I'm not talking about Trump's a good or a bad person. It's just like what his intentions are behind doing this.
and it's very obvious.
I think it's to get the votes. To be honest,
Yeah, and it's
to
hidden
get
behind the
votes.
guise of like,
But I guess
it's an
that-
American. We need to go
Yeah.
get him. I don't care what kind of life he lives, but he's an American. Like that's what he's going for, and it's not what I'm buying. Like I'm not.
But I guess like if you were in ASAP Rocky's shoes right now and you were in a jail in Sweden,
I'd take anything.
Yeah,
I imagine
yeah.
you'd want the president to like get you out.
He might get 2 years. He might get 2 years for that.
But aren't Sweden prison? Okay, I don't even want to say something like wrong here, but I saw a tweet that was like showed a Sweden prison. It looked like a college dorm, so I want to like confirm if.
I mean, it
that's
doesn't matter. It's still
what
being.
it looks like.
It's still like
Well,
him
the
being.
American prison system is terrible.
It's still him being
so-
away from home. You know what I mean? It's still him being in prison somewhere. But we don't know all the facts of it.
Yeah, and this is the first time ASAP Rocky has been seen in a negative light that I can think of.
Well, since he said those comments about Black Lives Matter.
I mean, yeah, but
And-
like, he doesn't get in a lot of controversy.
And for the context, he said that he does not really relate to Black Lives Matter because he lives in the hills in California, and that's not the life he lives.
And a lot of people are upset because they think that people shouldn't help him out because he said what he said.
Which
He
is,
said that
which I think is kind of screwed up. I think that social justice doesn't work for your model citizen. You know, like
Yeah.
everyone has said dumb things, and I think that you have someone who's in prison who shouldn't be, and I think that's just the bottom line, regardless of what they said.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, as much as we're talking about Trump being like having intentions behind all this stuff, it does seem like what ASAP Rocky did is not like imprisonable, and it also seems like he's pretty innocent. So like, we can't change around laws of a country, but we should probably do everything in our power to prove it innocent from what it looks like it is. But that's why evidence kind of is supposed to be kept, because we can make things look a certain way. Know what happened.
Cool.
We still don't.
Well, thanks guys for coming on. You want to sign off real quick? Robert Gold Dorkin,
See ya. Thanks.
Taylor McGee,
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
K-Mez,
Be easy. Thank you.
and you are listening to the Sam Hadelman Show. I'll be back next week. I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'll have another superstar in here. You know, who knows? You check out my interview with Snosa. I have something pretty cool happening tomorrow. And yeah, see ya.
I'm the boo in the back. Gang, gang. Them boys not flexing the same. I'm done with the Justin and fame. Pull up on your set, leave it.